I think
We are live, baby.
we are live. Holy
We
shit.
are live.
We are live. I can't go live without man, I'm really off today. Can't go live without a little
Little head bobber. There we go.
we have 0 views on right now. I didn't promote this thing at all,
Get me
not
in
one
the zone,
bit.
baby. Get me in the zone.
So hell yeah, shout out to Starcade, baby. Starcade, the greatest rap group in the history of America. I'm going to be in their next rap video that comes out. I went to New York City about, I don't know, 3 years ago. It was pre-COVID to film that video. It's going to come out. I think it was, they were just on the show last week, April 22nd, I believe. They're going to debut it right here in Indianapolis, Indiana, actually. They're coming in from New York. They're bringing the video to me. They're bringing it to Von Lilas, baby, because I was the star of the video, and I'm in the video, and I made the video, and they're going to be right here in Indianapolis, April 22nd, Starcade, baby. What do you think about that, Mike Mondo? Hey, you looking at the beard, checking out the beard, checking himself out in the in the camera. Look at that beard coming in. I got Mike Mondo on here right now. WWE superstar. You were tag champ, weren't you? Weren't you a tag champion?
World Tag Team Champion, baby.
World
Absolutely.
tag
Yes,
team
sir.
champion at WWE. I mean, that's pretty wild to think about, right? How long did that run last? Do you remember?
Oh man, that ran. Gosh, probably about 6, 7 months, I would say.
6 or 7
Yep.
months on top of the world.
And couldn't
Were
have
you-
dropped into two better people, Ric Flair and Roddy Piper, on Cyber Sunday.
Is that
So,
what? Is that right? Holy
yes, sir.
shit! Were you
Yeah,
a one time champ?
One time, yes, sir.
Who did you win the belts from?
We won the belts from Kane and Big Show the night after WrestleMania 22 in Chicago, Illinois, at the Allstate Arena.
Did you really? Kane and Big Show?
Yeah, man.
That
Yeah.
is wild, dude. And then
Yes,
losing to
sir.
Piper and Flair.
Yeah, man.
That's nuts. Does that seem like a lifetime ago, Mondo?
It does seem like a lifetime ago, about 15 years ago, maybe 16
it really?
now. I'm not sure, but I remember they asked us to do the favors, and I was like, well, I mean, what two better people to be honored to do the favors for? Absolutely.
I can't remember what I just saw. It was something wrestling related that I was in, and it just came up on my Facebook memories, and it was 10 years ago, and I was like, holy shit, I can't even remember what it was now. It was just the other day. I was like, I
Yeah.
cannot believe that's been 10 years, and that's wild. Time flies,
Very
buddy.
well, man.
So
Twitter's
I got-
good for that, man. Twitter's good for reminding you of all the details of that nature and stuff like that. I'd be like, what? I defeated who, or I lost to who? I was like, I never would have remembered that. Thank you very much, Twitter. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, hey, at least hey, I'd rather lose to him than never wrestle him. So what the hell.
Yeah, man.
So I'm here today with Mike Mondo, again, former WWE superstar in the house, back in the ring now. I saw you just wrestled recently, right?
I did. Just about a week and a half ago, maybe. Made my return to the ring. Felt great, by the way. It's been probably about a little bit over 3 years, and I couldn't have felt more at home. To be honest, I was in the ring with a good friend of mine, and we totally tore the house down. It felt great.
Hey,
And a good rib on me. As I don't know if you see that right there. got a little color there. Some butterfly stitches there on my forearm, but you know what? I'm good to go and ready to
nice.
keep on keeping on.
Hey, wrestling's still real on this channel, Mondo. So we're not in rings with good friends and tearing the house down. We're in epic, real fights when it comes to the Wrestling with Rip Rogers show here, Mondo.
Hey, wrestling's real in my book, baby.
Where was that at? Was that in New York or?
Yeah, that was in not Deer Park. It was in Farmingville, New York. Yes, in
cool.
about 5 minutes away from my home, which was nice and convenient for me. So it was good to nice easy trip, and it was really a great way to make my return. 600 people plus. My family and friends were in town, and it was nice. And the next stop is Rome, Italy, which I go to in about a couple weeks from now. So I'm looking forward to that.
You gonna be all healed up by then?
I hope so. Yep, I'll be ready to go. That's for sure.
Hey, we got Opinion Haver, the vet's in the house. We got at least one viewer here. I promoted this, absolutely none. I didn't put it out there at all. We've never been live on a Tuesday morning, to my recollection. But we're gonna do a little test run here and see if we can, get something to catch fire with, let's just call it the Mind of Mondo, right? Isn't that that's your Twitter deal, right? The Mind of
Yeah.
Mondo. I see you put out these
Hashtag Mind of
tweets.
Mondo, baby.
Hashtag Mind of Mondo. You go
Absolutely. Yep.
through kind of
All
like some
the
current
all the
matches,
current
old
news from
matches,
this brain right here. Yes, sir.
and then you kind of break down, let's call them spots or different parts in a match that
Yeah.
you think could happen, should happen, would be better if it happened your way, the Mind of Mondo way. And I'll tell you, just in my, I will call it limited experience in the wrestling business, in the wrestling ring, I always list you right up there in the top of anybody I've ever been in the ring with. You know, just off the top of my head, people that I could go out and or you could go out and have a match with pretty much anybody. It'd be like a you, Nick Dinsmore. I've been in the ring with Dolph Ziggler and seen him do it in during the day with people, just pull people for practice. What do you think of it? What do you think of Dolph while we're on that? I think Dolph Ziggler is just awesome. I think he could take anybody and have a match with him. What's your opinion of Dolph Ziggler?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've seen him grow from the ground up. When he first broke in the business, I remember when he first came in with Bobby Lashley and Lance Storm was training the class, and Lance would ask me to come in and help Bobby and Nick out, Dolph for that matter, all the time. And I've seen him grown, and just from the Spirit Squad days all the way up until what he is now. And I got nothing but the utmost respect for Dolph. And it's really crazy because people only see what they see on screen, but I've always seen what was behind the screen, And I remember when we were down at FCW and stuff like that when we got transferred from OVW to Florida. And Nick was always the type of guy to be the first one there and the last one to leave. And when it was time to leave, he didn't want to go home. He was like, come on, Mondo, let's go in there and do a match, call a match on the fly. Like he's so eager to learn and just hungry and everything like that. And that's something I always respected about him. And even, we were always, we were roommates actually in Florida too. So
cool.
he's always studying tape, just embracing the game and everything like that. So my hat's off to Dolph. And he is, if there's any other person I would wish it upon, it would be him to have all the success, because he really deserves it. He's worked hard, he's earned his keep, and I'm just happy to see where he is today.
Yeah, me too, man. I had a tryout match. I was an extra once. I don't remember if it was Raw or SmackDown or whatever. And a group of us from OVW were there, and we had like tryout matches during the day. I called it a tryout match, whatever, practice match, something. And I was with him. And, he made me look as good as possible and just called it on the fly. Gave me a cool comeback that, everybody else was doing the 3 clothesline bump feed thing. And he let me do my 3 different things than everybody else did, which was cool. And then, I saw him during the day. What was his name? Oleg?
Oleg. Yeah.
What else did he go by?
Partner. Yeah. Oleg. Oh yeah, I know you.
I saw him during the day one day, and they put those 2 together, and Ziggler just ran him through everything, and it was awesome. Just calling everything on the fly out there, and it was great.
He's one of those guys that he can take anybody. He can take a broomstick and make him look good. You know what I mean? He's very unselfish in the ring. Like he will go out of his way to make his opponent look good over him. And it's like a detrimental thing, or it could be it's a curse and a blessing, it's like one of those things where, he could go in there and make, like I just said, make anybody look good, despite himself, but he knows how to get himself over too, and he's one of those guys, in my opinion, if I was to hire anybody on the roster, he would be it. And he would always have a job because he can just do just that.
I mean, he's been there, 20 years?
Oh, almost, I would say, yeah, for sure. I mean, I got fired in 2008, and his career was just up and running from that point on. And what are we in now? 2023. So yeah, do the math. There you go.
I mean, anybody that I read, you read the dirt sheet sometimes, and people say bad things about him or whatever, and I can't believe anybody with half a brain in wrestling would say anything negative about Dolph Ziggler, his career, whatever, like, oh, he jobs out to everybody, or he's underachieved, or this, that, or the other bullshit. He's had a 20-year run, and it's just been awesome. So anyway,
absolutely,
enough about that. We are here today. We're going to try something new today. We're going to actually talk about wrestling. We don't usually talk about wrestling on Wrestling with Rip Rogers, which is still what this is. But today we're going to try it. I got Mike Mondo, the Mind of Mondo, on here. And you wrote... I got it on. I got a TV right here in Lila Studios now. And I think the first match you kind of were talking to me about off the air was the Street Profits against Solo and one of the Usos. Who was it? Jimmy, I think. Jimmy Uso,
Yeah,
right?
Jimmy Uso,
Jimmy Uso.
Sikoa.
So this is all brand new. I have no idea what we're doing. So what do you want to do, man? Do you just want to get into the match? And like I just literally have watched it right now. You have some notes you want to talk about? I'm sure the people have already seen it. We're a week late. Last night's Raw just happened. We are kind of a week late on this. Maybe if we do this in the future, we'll try to be more to the up to date matches, so to speak. But what the hell? It's our first time, man.
Sure, man. Let's swing it, brother.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
What do you got on this match? So when I started watching it, I saw them out in the ring, Solo and Uso cutting a promo because they're building up. Obviously, something's going to happen, at WrestleMania. And if you watch last night, some of it started unfolding a little bit more. And then the Street Profits came out, so we started a match, a tag match there.
Yeah, man. Well, you kind of took the words right out of my mouth, because what I was going to say was that Jimmy Uso and Sikoa were in the ring. Obviously, they were talking about their stuff and everything about Cody Rhodes and how their tribal chief, Roman Reigns, isn't going to be there till Friday Night SmackDown. And that's when the Street Profits kind of interrupted. And, lo and behold, they got into some fisticuffs. And and pretty much the match started right off the bat with punches, kicks, stomps, a super kick. And that's kind of like where I began my notes right off the bat, because, they started off fighting, back and forth and stuff like that. And then they came back up in the air. And this is one of my pet peeves. I kind of want to point it out to everybody, is that when the bell rung, is that they locked up, and one of my pet peeves from the Mind of Mondo, so to speak, and I know I put this on Twitter a couple times, was that you can always wrestle then fight, but you can't fight then wrestle, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they did when the bell rung was that they locked up right away. And they could have easily gotten to that spot right off the bat where, him ducking, behind, and still got into the fisticuffs and doing what they were going to do and stuff like that. But they didn't have to do the lockup, so to speak, because that just tells me it's wrestling, if that makes sense.
And this was the first match, though, of the night, too, wasn't it?
This was the first match of the night. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So that's a little pet peeve of mine, and just as the match was getting on, and all the body of work and everything like that was excellent, in my opinion. Obviously all the guys can go that's involved in the match and everything. But if you just look at the little things, right, is that there was no selling from the reactions from either partners to what was going on in the ring. And I see that in a lot of tag matches, especially in that today, is that everything that's going on in the ring and stuff like that, the people that are not involved on the outside are not acting and reacting to what's going on in the ring, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah,
so
totally.
You know what I'm saying? So if I'm taking a punch, and you know what I mean, and I'm the tag partner that's taking that punch, and I'm not registering or selling to what's going on, to what's happening in the ring, so why should the people care or vicariously live to what's going on in the ring? You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
I think John Cena late in his career, when he comes back and has done some different tag matches where they basically have him on the apron until the comeback, I think he is one of the best at getting the crowd to have sympathy for his partner in the ring. He's always out there pantomiming and looking in pain and trying to get, reaching the hand out and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to be, if you're a baby face and you're if your partner is selling in the ring, so to speak, you know what I mean? Is if I'm not caring or feeling what's going on with my partner inside the ring, then why should the people care? I mean, it's such a little attention to the detail aspect of that, but it's it kind of brings everything full circle. You know what I mean? It's if my partner's getting beat up in the ring and I'm not really giving two craps about them, then why should the people really kind of vicariously live through that and feel that and want to get emotionally involved? You know what I mean? So it's just a little small detail, but that's something I noticed at the very aspect of the match.
Did you have any notes on the finish of the match?
The finish of the match. I do, but I can get there if you don't mind.
Oh, you're not there. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Go. Yeah, keep going, man. Sorry.
Something that I thought was very smart, because I mean, honestly, I don't want to just, obviously just I don't want to dog the match or come across as I like to point out the good things too.
Right.
But there was one point in the match where Jimmy had one of the Street Profits in a chin lock, which brought him back, and he brought him back down. So like the babyface was working his way up, and then he brought him back down because I guess he got the Iggy from the ref that they were going to a replay from the pay-per-view and stuff like that. So, and this is something that I've learned, from working the Highlanders, actually, an Unforgiven pay-per-view, was, there was a point in time, like, we were just trying to get our shit in, we're getting our spot, it's a spot, and everything like that. And they're trying to replay everything that we were previously doing. But they couldn't replay. I mean, they were replaying it, but we were doing something else. So it was like the people's attention was going from A to Z to A to Z, they didn't know what to watch and stuff like that. But something that was very smart from Jimmy is when he brought him back down, he stayed in the hold, he let the replay go to where it needed to go. And then when that replay was done, they worked their way up and then they kind of continued their match. So the attention was able to stay on point A to point B, back to point A, so as never to miss any point of the match, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. So how often is that always on the fly on the replays? Do you guys know that? Do they give you the Iggy on that? Do you just have to watch? How do you know that in the ring?
Generally speaking, if you know you do something good, you probably have a feeling that you're going to go to replay and kind of like reminisce that a little bit, but you will get an Iggy from the referee, so to speak, saying like, hey, we're going to replay that back. So, if that happens, make sure you grab a hold, stay small, so they can turn that attention there to the commercial break or whatever the fact. And then obviously when that's over, the referee give it the Iggy back, and then you can continue doing what you were doing. But the attention is not divided. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Yeah. So, but so many times, like, and I learned this firsthand, is from the past, I'd be doing spot at the spot at the spot. And it's like, well, they're replaying this. And it's like, now they're missing this. And it's just like, the crowd doesn't know where to divide their attention to. You know what I'm saying? So something that I was able to pick that up, right off the bat from watching that match. I was like, oh, that's very smart. Good job, Jimmy. You
nice.
Know what I mean?
That's good insight right there. That's something the viewers, including myself, probably don't think about at all.
Yeah. And why shouldn't you? I mean, like, they don't know. They're not in the ring. They don't know, but that's just something I learned from experience. So I thought that was a good job right there. My next little tidbit there was, and again, this is flavor of ice cream. This is not right or wrong. And maybe Vaughn, you can give me your insight on this. But to me, I'm always a fan when the heat spot happens, that there's actual heat that actually happens. Like the heel actually cheating, so to speak, to gain the advantage because the baby faces have been getting over, doing what they were doing and stuff like that. But in this case, in this spot specifically, there was a leapfrog with a blind tag, and then there was a clothesline delivered, and that's what kind of changed the momentum, if that makes sense. And now you can argue, okay, that they're brothers, so that maybe that they're a little bit more in tune with each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, I kind of give that one a pass. That's me being nitpicky, but I kind of want to get your take on that.
No, so it was a blind tag with the heels that then put them over the baby faces?
Yeah, there was a leapfrog. Yeah. The baby face went underneath. There was a blind tag made, and then bam, the heel came in with the clothesline, and that's what changed the momentum.
Yeah, it's almost like they outsmarted him, out-wrestled him. I would not.
Yes, and that's why I wanted your opinion, Vaughn, because you can look at it like that, like the heels kind of outsmarted the baby faces, but you can also look at it like, okay, they're brothers, the bloodline, etc. So
yeah,
I don't. A little bit more in tune with each other, so it's like, it's a give or take. I guess that's like a flavor of ice cream, so to speak, like I said before.
I don't really like it. No, I would rather see some sort of, cheating, obviously, or at least not. To me, what you just described, and like I said, I just watched it, but some of it I was talking to you, whatever. No, I don't really like that, even if they're brothers. To me, my personal opinion, no, it seems like they out wrestled or outsmarted the baby faces to get the advantage. Right. And if you do that without any kind of, cheating or going behind the ref's back or double teaming or whatever, I guess it's kind of a double team, but no, I don't like it.
Okay, fair enough, man. Again, like flavor of ice cream, I can see it from both different ways, but I agree. I'm always a favor of the heels actually cheating to get the advantage. That's what kind of changes the momentum.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's when you start your heat.
Hey,
Like
Charles the Hammer Evans is in
on
the
your
house
baby
right
face.
now.
What's that?
Charles the Hammer Evans is in the house right now.
Oh, the hammer. What's up, baby?
Hammer baby, what's happening?
What's going on, brother? All right, moving forward. So we're in the heat right now. So now we're getting ready to go home. And this is actually one of my pet peeves going forward too. And I'd like to kind of talk about this a little bit. So Crawford is the one that's selling a little bit here. And the match isn't very long. But as the heat's going on, there's a spot in the match where he gets up, runs, jumps to deliver a flying elbow on Sikoa at the conclusion of the heat, which then goes back down to selling. Now, in my opinion, it just, to me, that just kills the heat, because it's like if you're getting heat on a guy, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden he's got the energy to roll and jump and do a flying elbow onto the heel and then go back down selling, to a double down. It's just like, well, why do you need your partner to begin with, right? I just think it's one of those things where the babyface should always be on the defensive, acting, reacting, being crawl through the legs, freaking, out of desperation, then try to make a tag, to kind of build that hot tag, so to speak. But to deliver an offensive maneuver, and it's one of those things you see in all tag matches, in my opinion, these days, and that's just one of my things there.
I absolutely hate that.
No,
Almost everybody does it.
yeah,
I think they try to make it like, I think the idea of it when it started happening all the time, people were like, "Oh, it's out of desperation." Like out of desperation, I hit this, and then I go back down selling. But these are way too big of moves. They're too big of offensive moves. Like you said, he went running and hit. If you have all that energy to go run across the ring and do a flying forearm, then
yeah.
just tag out, or you
Now
don't need your
I
partner,
think,
like you said.
in my opinion, they could have set it up a little differently, because I do think there's those acts of desperation maneuvers where it's okay, but to roll, to be able to jump and deliver a perfect freaking back elbow and then go back down selling for no reason, I think that's just a little bit out of my realm, so to speak.
Yeah, it kills
Now,
the heat. The heat's
I
gone.
remember, I remember the match, as I recall, is that he super kicked. Was Oh, what was his partner?
Which one? Solo or the Street Profits?
It's Street Profits, the guy making the comeback.
Yeah, I can't remember the name.
But anyway, he super kicked him off the apron. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like they had that moment where his facials, and he got really pissed and he's angry and all that stuff. He's making his way up. He could have went for the super kick. He have him jump down. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then he turns around doing that one step, turning into the baby face and have him backdrop him out. And then they go back down selling. I think that's a little bit more justifiable. Then you can still have that moment with those facials, like he tried to freaking kick me in the face. Freaking, it's not happening. Desperation backdrop. I think that's a little bit more justifiable and okay. And then have the moment where the heel tags the heel, baby face tags the baby face, and now we're off to the races. If that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect. Let me ask you this question. All these things that you're talking about, you've been there, you've done that, you've been in this spot. Who ultimately has the say on all these little details that you're talking about? Are these things already laid out for you from an agent? Do you guys work on it together? Like who has the ultimate say on all these little things?
Well, honestly, from my experience, man, it's just like, okay, whoever's involved in the match, like we get with our producer, and then the producer goes, okay, guys, you got like 6-8 minutes, whatever, like that. We go put our match together, and then we get with our producer, and then the producer usually works out the nicks and crannies, you know what I'm saying? And then that the producer has the final say, or he'll bring it to Vince or whatever like that, and Vince will give the okay, and then we'll take out what we need to take out, and then we'll go through what we need to go through and everything like that. So that's pretty much how it's laid out.
But even the detail on the roll flying forearm, like, is that something that's approved, or is that just not even brought up, that little detail?
Man, honestly, that's probably an afterthought, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's okay.
I mean, well, I've had matches that were pretty laid out, and we would bring it to our producer and we would go out A through Z. This is what we have, and then he'll be like, okay, X-nate this, maybe this instead, or yeah, boys, that sounds good, man. Just go out and do it, and then we come through the back and usually get thumbs up or thumbs down, pretty
Yeah, I
much.
just wondered today, like if somebody like you or a Cornette or a Rip was actually backstage and somebody, somebody said, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do," and they just said, "No, you're not doing that. Like, let's do a match where you keep the heat. You have a true hot tag." I know Cornette gets hot about that all the time, that there are no real hot tags anymore. And just to see how something like that would work and everybody does the same damn thing. Everybody does
Yeah,
that spot where the guy taking the heat makes an offensive maneuver. Almost
yeah.
every single match that happens.
Oh, it happens all the time.
I would
I
just
see
love
it
to
on
see it if it.
every time I watch AEW or Raw, and there's a tag match going on. I guarantee you, someone's gonna get a big offensive maneuver, and then they'll go back down selling for no reason. Because
I know. I would love to just see it go not that way and see what would happen. Like. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, man.
No, you're not, dude. Hey, man, this is your show, brother. I'm just happy to be on it, So, but I'm glad you see that though, because that's something that I've always noticed in like so many tag matches and going forward. And it's just like, well, if you have the energy to do all that, and then just go down something, it's like it just doesn't make any sense.
My thing has always been, if you have the energy to do all that, why not just run over and tag your partner?
Exactly.
I mean,
That my point exactly. Thank you very much. But I don't know. It just seems that's the trend, and people replicate it because that's what they always see. And I don't think they were ever taught otherwise, I guess, if you have to ask for my opinion.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, moving on. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So Sikoa is nowhere to be found in the comeback. Been in control for about 2.5 minutes in the heat. He took one elbow, which was that move before the hot tag was made. And then he was just laid on the mat and never seen until shortly thereafter the comeback. I would have liked to seen him get bipped off the apron before Montez. That's his name, Montez, making the comeback. Especially because, they've been protecting him, so to speak. So they've really been protecting Sikoa, and you can tell, a little bit before the match how he would take a drop kick, go down to his knee, and really like earning, to work his way down and stuff like that. And then he kind of just took an elbow, right before the hot tag, and then it was never before seen up until like maybe about a minute and a half into the comeback. And then I think there was like a kick off the apron to him onto the floor. I would have liked to seen him get involved in the comeback a little bit more, just to kind of keep it a little bit more of a tag flow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And one of my things here is the back tags, they gotta go. It's a hand-to-hand tag. Never mind with the the foot tags or the back tags, hand-to-hand tags. And I think that's an official tag, and that's in my opinion what they should do going forward.
Yeah, I wonder where that ever came from. Again, you were there. Like, is that ever discussed? I mean, I guess that's just behind the scenes in WWE. That's just accepted.
Yeah,
obviously.
It's been a hot minute since I've been there, Vaughn, but honestly, I've always understood, and the way I was understood from James E. Cornette and Danny Davis, the way I was taught is an official tag is hand-to-hand contact, and anything other than that is that it's not an official tag. So, and there's ways to go about it too. It's like, I see people like even today, like when they're in a babyface shine, they're exchanging arms, going back and forth on a tag, and they're still tagging each other's backs and stuff like that. It's like, man, like it takes a second, not even a second, to just trap the guy's arm, extend your hand, boom, make an official tag, adjust, and then transition accordingly. And that's something I never understood, but I think that needs to go back to and that's wrestling 101. Maybe I'm just a little bit old school thinking that way, but I just think that's, to me, an official tag.
I mean, that's for wrestling. I just remember as a kid watching Dick the Bruiser's wrestling. They always had the actual rope off the turnbuckle, and they emphasize, having that hand on the rope and having the tag with the other hand every time. And even as a 5-year-old kid, I knew that was the rule. I knew that's how you had to tag. And
yeah, man, hold the tag rope, both feet on the ground, on the mat, I should say, and over the top rope with the hand extended, hand-to-hand contact. That's the official rules, and I think those rules need to be enforced, especially in a tag match scenario.
It just kind of surprises me that Vince and maybe even trickle down to Triple H and those guys don't go back to that, or don't enforce that, or don't emphasize that, or just, gotten away from the basics. And maybe, when it went to sports entertainment, part of that was just out the window. Like, hey, we're sports entertainment now. We're not a sport. So,
Yeah.
we're not going to enforce the rules as much. Or maybe they don't even know or care. I don't know.
I've wondered that myself sometimes. Sometimes I just feel like that maybe that psychology is just a little bit lost,
Yeah.
and they're just all about creating just action movies, and as long as it's entertaining and it comes across as such on TV,
Yeah.
and that the people are entertained, in accordingly that type of fashion, then just who cares anymore? But again, I don't know. I'm a little bit out of the loop. I could be wrong on that, but sometimes that's the impression I get.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah. But all in all, good business, good match. The body of work, very sound. And I guess we'll move on to our next match. You want
But there was no. Let's get to the finish now. There was no cheating in the finish either, was there? Wasn't it a straight Samoan spike? I think I just saw, wasn't it?
Yes, it was correct. Well, actually, there was a blind tag made, and which was very clever. I thought actually how they went into that specifically, because I think it could have still had some heat on the finish, but just kind of the way they went into that, I was actually okay by how the Samoan spike went off.
But there was no, correct me if I'm wrong, there was no cheating in the heat or the finish, correct?
Not the heat spot or the finish. No, there was not. Nope. No. So,
Okay.
yeah. But
now it was the first match, but still, it was kind of a, I don't know, important match. What's the word I'm looking for? Like main guys. It wasn't like your typical, two wrestlers going at a singles match, getting the crowd warmed up. It was, it's a bloodline. So it was already, no matter who the bloodline was, it was the bloodline. So it was already a bigger name match. You know what I mean? So even though it was the first match, I still think there should have been some sort of cheating either in the heat spot or the finish. But,
absolutely. I mean,
but there wasn't.
Anytime I'm a heel, the first thing I'm thinking of is how do I cheat to get the advantage? As far as to get one up on my baby face. I think they did a good job of making the baby faces. Especially with Montez coming off of the big baby face kind of rub or push. You want to put it off the pay-per-view and everything like that. So for them to be put in a match was kind of like with the bloodline, was just kind of giving them the rub, so to speak. But them having a good solid match, I thought it was really good to start off the show. And but yeah, I would have liked to see maybe definitely cheating to get the advantage for the heat. I wouldn't have gone clever, so to speak, on the heat spot and the finish. Right. But it's one of those things, if you want to argue that they're brothers and they're on the same page, so to speak, because of that aspect, I can buy that for the finish, because I've seen spots where the Andersons have done that and stuff like that because they're brothers and everything. And that kind of correlated with me and translated me, and to me, that kind of like unfolded in the end to where everything kind of made sense in the end. So
even though those two are brothers, they haven't probably tagged for at all, hardly.
Well, I think like Sikoa only kind of came into the mix only recently.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy and Jay have mostly been the tag team, and then
for like 15 years. The other two have been together for 15 minutes. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, next match. I think it was you watched Piper Nevin, I think, and
yeah.
What's her name? Candice? Is it
Piper
Candice?
Nevin versus Candice Lerae with Nikki Cross.
And I've got it on right now. I got it on here at Lila Studios right now. I'm watching it.
All right, there we go. And this is only a 3-minute match. Now, keep in mind, like, this is me because I've seen very, I don't even want to say minimal. I've never seen Piper or Candice work. So this is me being.
You got to get with the times, man. How are we going to do Mind of Mondo if you've never watched any of these people before? Come on.
I know, right? Freaking pity me, man. Horrible. But this was actually me, like when I was watching critiquing the match, this was me being a first-time viewer. So, and as they always say, you always want to educate your audience as if they were a first-time viewer and then treat it as such. So you can educate them and tell a story that's proper need be, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I just saw the finish.
Yeah. So I'm just going to read my notes here, if I may. So start off the match. Boom. Candice takes a tackle. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about previously in the previous match. Candice takes a tackle off the bat. She gets smacked in the face. She gets choked. Then there was a slip behind where Candice kicks to Piper's leg. followed by a crucifix into a sunset flip, followed by a neck breaker with no acknowledgement what was done prior. And it kind of goes back to all my matches, that I've been talking about with you as far as what we were just saying. Take any case scenario. Say I got you in a freaking chin lock, Vaughn, and I'm getting heat on you, and you work your way up, and you give me 3 elbows, and you hit the ropes, and I give you an elbow, right? We always forget about what's done prior to us, right?
Yeah.
If you gave me 3 elbows to the stomach, and you hit the ropes, and I stopped you with an elbow, I'm going to take a second to register, to acknowledge, right, what just happened, and then my facials and my body language is going to tell the story. And now I have a reason to change gears and capitalize on my heat. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, but I think that's a very common mistake that a lot of people make that I see these days. And, I'd like to kind of see that corrected if I was the producer of the match.
Hashtag Mind of Mondo.
Hashtag Mind of Mondo, baby. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And that just comes from slowing down. When you slow down, you can actually bring all those attention to details to life, so to speak, and I think that's what really is going to culminate your story and make everything mean something. And when everything means something, people get emotionally engaged a little bit more, and that's what kind of separates really the pros from here to there, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's just something that I just think is lost, and I think that needs to be brought to the students at the performance center's attention, in my opinion, because you see it all the time. It's like a move will happen, bam, and then they'll cut them off, and then they'll forget that move ever happened. But if it just takes 1 second just to put it over, just to register it, before you move forward. And that's called, I think, working for the match. And when 2 people work for the match and 2 people try to outsell each other, that's the best kind of art that I think you can create. And those are the matches that people are going to go home remembering, because you put everything over, you sold everything, and everything comes full circle in the end. If
Oh yeah, man, I agree.
Yeah. All right. So moving forward, and I think, by the way, Piper has a very unique look. She's very much different than the average girls out there on the roster. She hits the senton. She grabs a hold with minimal facial expressions and minimal body language. When she's working when she was working a Cobra Clutch, she needs more presentation to her stuff, aggressiveness. She released her in the corner for no reason. She just kind of threw her off in the corner. Now, in my opinion, when you see Piper, again, she looks very much different than the average girl, on the roster. She could have hooked that Cobra Clutch. She could have picked her up. She could have swung her around, get those facial expressions for the cameraman to really zoom in on her, and then just out of nowhere, she just kind of shoved her off into the corner. Now, to me, that didn't make any sense, because what did the babyface do to justify that? It's one thing if the babyface now gave her an elbow to the stomach, right? Now she has a justification to throw her off into the turnbuckle and to kind of turn up her heat, instead of just kind of side shuffle her out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought she could have worked that hold a lot more. Could have got a lot more out of it. And also gives a chance for the commentators to put her and her opponent over and really tell that story to what's going on in the ring, because it's not what you're doing physically. If you're doing something physically in the ring, the commentators don't have a chance to really put over what you're doing in the ring, because they're always worried about, commentating and talking about what the next thing is coming like that, but if you're in a hold and you're settling stuff down, they could really have a chance to tell your story, put you over, put your opponent over, and to really kind of, give the people watching at home a full case scenario on what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So do you know, I mean, I think you just said it was your first time watching Piper work. So she had been Dewdrop in the past, and she was with another girl. And then I can't remember what all happened, but she'd been around for a while, and then she left. I'm watching the Cobra Clutch right now. And then she had left for quite a while as Dewdrop, and then came back, and they gave her old name, Piper Nevin or whatever. And I thought they would be pushing her now kind of as a monster heel, but I mean, she lost this match, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a backdrop to what business was going on with Nikki Cross, I think. So I think that was the main point of what they were trying to get there. kind of further business with her and Nikki Cross.
Yeah, I guess, but then
my,
there's two baby faces. I thought Nikki Cross was a heel. I guess she's a baby face. It was two baby faces against one heel then, and the baby faces won 2-on-1, apparently.
yeah. Yes, but not really, because she really didn't get involved to the finish, which kind of will bring me back to my later point.
Yeah, but that's what cost her the match. Was the finish. When she got involved is why she lost.
Yes.
I mean, she got rolled up.
Yeah. To me, the match came across very paint by number, as it was called in the back. It was lacking feeling and emotion. It felt like it was stuff in between the moves that was kind of missing the most. Let's see here. I put in parentheses, explain how they could have gotten more out of the finish through Nikki Cross and the barricade. Okay, so Nikki, pretty much Piper like rolled out of the ring and like she like beeled Nikki Cross into the barricade. And then she like immediately walked into the ring, only to get schoolboyed right away.
She walked in the ring and then turned back around to look over the ropes.
She didn't even turn back around. That's why I'm saying it was almost like paint by number. It was almost like, okay, this is what we're good. They called the match in the back and they recited it pretty much exactly what they called in the back into the ring without adding those commas and periods that were needed when the match was going on. She could have easily done the same thing, beeled Nikki Cross into the barricade, right? Put her attention on Nikki Cross, give those facials, take a second or two to let the commentators put over what's going on in the backstory, slowly back up, slide in the ring. Don't turn your attention to your opponent, because your attention's fully on Nikki Cross, and then kind of get schoolboyed out of nowhere. And then that's where the animosity comes in when the 1, 2, 3 happens, what I'm saying? And really come full circle in the end. But instead it was boom, Beal in the barricade. I'm going to sprint to the ring, slide in the ring, get up, get schoolboyed. And it was just missing all that little stuff that I think could have made the finish mean that much more. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to say this.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it. If that makes, what I'm saying?
I'm going to say this and then take heat for it. But I see this not in maybe the big time women's matches, but I see this in a lot of women's matches, especially early on in the card. Not maybe the Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, the big time matches, but I see it a lot with the women that it looks like they are just exactly what you said. Just going, here's what we got laid out. Maybe we only have 3 minutes. We got to make sure we get this all in exactly how it's laid out. So here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Hit our time. Done. No emotion, no putting anything over, nothing like that.
Honestly, man, you know what the solution is to that? You do a little bit less. That's all you do.
Yeah.
Do a little bit less, and you put more of the emotion and the stuff that happens in between the moves. Implement that a little bit more. And honestly, I had a match. Honestly, I had a match, my return match, right? And I was even thinking to myself, man, we got 10 minutes. I'm like, do we have enough? But I'm like, you know what? Nah, 4 or 5 things. That's all we need. Like, let's fill in the blanks with the storytelling, with the emotion, with the facial expressions, with the body language, with the selling, with the grabbing of holds, with the working of holds, with acting and reacting to what me and my opponent is doing. That's gonna fill in the blanks, And I think that's what they needed to do right there. Just kind of what we were talking about with everything that was going on in the beginning and stuff like that. They could have cut out that shine a little bit more, and just register and sell each other a little bit more, and then kind of keep going from there. They know the business that they have to get across. Just make sure that gets across in the end.
Yeah, like Rip says, she's winning. She doesn't have to get the shine in, really.
Yeah, exactly. If she's winning, which that actually goes on to my next match. But you're right. If she's winning, then you know what? Then what does she really have to get in at the beginning? Just make your freaking baby face, because the more you make your baby face, the more heat you can have on the finish. And just work on it. And TV is different than working house shows. You have the blessing of camera shots, floor cams, hard cam. You got the blessing of commentators to allow you to elaborate and tell your story. Let them tell your story for you, because I guarantee you with what's her name? Damn it, Piper. With Piper just grabbing that hold and just having a ring around Candice like a rag doll. God, what the commentators would have done more than their job to make her look vicious and freaking more devastating than anything could have done physically.
Right.
And all she did was grab a hold. It was no punches, there was no kicks, there was no stomps, there was no power bombs, no freaking, whatever through a flaming table that would have got her over even more than just the commentators just putting her over, because that's what the people are listening to, that's what the people are engaged to, and that's what they're going to be emotionally involved in.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Yeah. Sweet.
I got our final match. I got it on right now. Right here live at studios. I have it on the TV. Just gonna check in real quick. Yeah, purpose of the match. Charles the Hammer, Buckshot Kid in the house. Vet says, but if that producer gives them all that shit, they are pressured to get it in. He thinks. What do you think about that? Like if they're, if so in that match, you said even just do less. What if that's the match layout from the producer, so to speak? Are they pressured to get all that shit in? Like, will they catch heat in the back if they don't get their match by numbers in?
Well, pretty much what I'm getting out of that is if that was the match laid out by the producers and what they wanted to do specifically, ABCD. Is that correct?
Yeah, like if it is, are they under that much pressure to get that in that amount of time? And maybe that's why it looks just hurried and rushed and they're not putting things over.
No, I don't think so. I think they all probably got to collaborate about it. I'm sure that the girls had their piece to say about it. The producers had their opinions about it. And then they all kind of tried to pretty much come up with the best case scenario, but honestly speaking, I don't know the experience level of those two women, but me having a trained eye of 20 years and have been there and has failed and succeeded, I would have had a different layout on how I would have approached the scenario. And I would have been like, okay, well, how about we do this, but let's maybe X-nate this and this because this is the business we're trying to get across. And let's really try to get the feeling and emotion behind each thing that we're really doing, and have the story come full circle in the end. That's kind of how I would have approached it. But that's just me having experienced that and how I would have went about it. But again, maybe they never experienced TV at that high level. So they were probably maybe just like, yes, sir, okay. And I understand that because I've been there, done that. And at the end of the day, you want to collect the paycheck and do what they say, Right. So as Rip would always say, learn how to work. And then when you get up there, do what you're told.
Check, don't bounce.
That's right.
Okay. Last match, man.
All right. Last match here. You good on that last match, man? You have anything else to
Oh no, we talked about it. We've talked enough about that 3-minute match, man.
All right, cool. All right, man. Last one I have here is Otis with Maximum Male Models versus Johnny Gargano. Okay, I have a lot of notes on this one. And kind of weird to have a lot of notes. I mean, it's only a 3-minute match, but this is just my opinion, of course. I would have simplified the beginning. Okay, this was an example of what you were saying. If if Johnny's going over, right, make Otis as big of a monster as possible. At the start of the match, Otis charges, boom, Johnny ducks, gives 3 forearms, which Otis no sells, pushes Gargano off, where Gargano ducks 2 elbows from Otis, delivers a flying tackle where Otis bounces off the ropes and Gargano is greeted with a spinning fist, which looked great, by the way. Instead, I would have slowed it down a lot. I would have Otis look like he was calling for a test of strength maybe at the beginning. Something different, too, that the show hasn't seen before. Tries to sucker him in and bait him in. But then by him charging, Gargano ducks and hits him with 1 forearm, where Otis then pushes Gargano into the ropes and sells it, where he comes off with a shoulder tackle, where he's then greeted with a spinning fist as he bounces off the ropes. So I would have kind of trimmed the meat a little bit on the front end and just kind of get to the cutoff a little bit faster, if that makes sense. I don't see the point in ducking and form, hit the ropes, tackle, and then what are those 3 forms prior? You know what I'm saying? Hit that one forearm, boom, sell, right? When you sell your forearm, that's what takes your eye off the ball, so to speak, and then you're greeted with that flying fist. That little attention to detail that kind of makes Otis be able to capitalize. You know what I'm saying? Make him that big man. Make him that monster. You know? Boom, boom, boom.
I mean, Gargano, I'm watching right now, is getting his shit in the shine. He's getting all kinds of stuff in.
Well, exactly. But what does it mean? Right?
Yeah, I'm not.
It's just getting countered anyway. You know what I'm saying? So if I know I'm getting countered, Vaughn, and this is Mike Mondo speaking in any match that he ever has, okay? If me and you are working and I know that you're going to reverse me and give me a hip toss, let's just say, okay? I'm going to give you one thing, whether it's one forearm, have you sell to the ropes, or one chop to have you sell to the ropes, and then have you reverse me, give me the hip toss. Why would I want to give you everything in the kitchen sink just to have you reverse me? Because when you reverse me, all those things that I gave you prior don't mean dick. You follow?
I follow, man.
Yeah. So my suggestion was slow it down, right? Slight register, right? Give me some facials, gear changes, especially when the splash happens on the ground. You know, there was a point in time when Otis gave him a big splash on the ground, right? I would have taken out the hope spots where Otis charges in the corner and Gargano puts up the boot and then the elbow, and then placed and then I would have placed where he posts himself in a different spot in the match. You know, again, because Otis is going over, right? Make him the monster that he needs to be. There's no need.
Gargano's going over.
What's that?
You said Otis is going over. Gargano's going over.
Oh, Gargano. I'm sorry. Yes, I apologize about that.
I mean, I just watched the match. Gargano pretty much took the whole match and won.
Yeah, but there's no need. There's no need because he's going over in the end, right? That's
I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying what happened.
Yeah, people are gonna remember what happens at the end, at the finish. You know, ultimately that's what matters. You know what I'm saying? And you have to also understand like what points of the match is going to get you over, you know, so to speak, from a television standpoint. You know, boom, 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 boom. Okay, boom. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place here.
Oh, you're fine, dude.
So you slow it down, right? Boom. There was a point in time where Otis slides out of the ring, right? And he looks up at the model, you know, and he delivers the big smile. And then he turns around and catches Gargano on the dive. And after the dive, he catches him and then drops him onto the announce table. Now that could have been a moment right there where character and personality could really shine through. You know, if he rolls out of the ring and instead of just like looking up, turning around, catching the dive, throwing him onto the announce table, have that moment where he like really looks up slow at the max, you know, the model. He freaking smiles, nods his head a little bit. Then he goes, all right, lady, I'm going to show you what's all about. Turns around, catches him, throws Gargano onto the announce table. And then instead of just hitting that pose really quick and sliding back into the ring, really like hit that pose. You know what I'm saying? That's where, you know, anybody can do the moves, so to speak. You know, it's the character and the personality that makes you different than everybody else. That's going to make you shine through, and you know, overcome and make you stand out. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think that's honestly, if he would have just done that look a little bit slower, have the payoff with Gargano into the face into the announce table, he really hit that freaking bodybuilder pose. That would have got him more over than anything he would have done physically in the ring, in my opinion. If I, you know, anyway, going forward, Gargano was grabbed by the male models. I guess that's where Sam came in, Dexter Loomis, I should say, from the crowd to save Gargano. Gargano gives another super kick, which I might want to add. We've only dissected 3 matches, And I want to say I counted 4 or 5 super kicks in those 3 matches. And that's not to say that there was 2 or 3 other matches on the card for that TV, So if I was a talent and I was in WWE, I would just X-nate the super kick if I was me, because I'm just being a repeat of everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So I know that's something that's been said before, but I guess people still do it. And I guess, I don't know. I don't know. What's your opinion on that, man?
I'm counting right now how long Gargano's out of the ring, and I'm at 20. I'm going to be over 30 seconds here soon. So from that spot where they dumped him, Otis went back in and came back out, which Rip says shouldn't break the count anyway. Gargano was out at least 30 seconds. He's still out.
Yeah.
He still hasn't been in the ring. He's been out the entire time until he comes and hits that
count out?
And then hits that flying DDT thing. No, the super kick, man, once you start doing the super kick with the leg slap anyway, it's all bullshit. I mean, I love when they do the replays, the super kicks, slow-mo up close, and you can see the hand coming down on the leg slap. It's all phony. Everybody does it. So I would definitely not do it. Like if I was, or if I did it, I would make my super kick look the most vicious, no leg slap, look like I'm taking the guy's head off super kick. I would make mine look so much better if I could. Now I'm saying I'm not saying me like I'm a great super kick person. I'm not. But if I was, I would make mine look so much better than everybody else's. It would be embarrassing for anybody else to do a super kick. Last night, the show ended with one of the Usos super kicking Sami Zayn. And I couldn't really tell. I have to look back. And it looked great. It was up close. You could see the shoe. That's another thing. When they super kick with tennis shoes, it just does not give me the same effect as a wrestling boot. Yeah. But Usos always wear tennis shoes, which drives me nuts. But the kick looked solid, and Sami Zayn sold it like $1 million. He just did the dead sale, like he just got knocked out, and it was awesome, dude. If you haven't watched it, it was really good.
Well, there's a reason why people always counted 1, 2, 3, and they knew it was the finish when Shawn Michaels hit the super kick.
Yeah,
because they knew it was the end.
Not just a leg slap spot.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's how you treat it, man. It's like anything else. It's how you treat it. Like if you're just one of the guys doing a leg slap super kick, it means nothing, then it's going to mean nothing. But if you're a guy that, hey, my super kick going to knock your head off and I'm going to beat you with it, or you're going to get knocked out from it, then hey, I like that super kick.
Exactly. Yeah. It's what you condition the audience, and if you beat people with it, it could be a freaking punch. You condition the people over and over again that punch actually works and beats people with it. And when that punch happens, people believe it's a finish.
Well, again, you have to watch you have to watch last night's Raw. Again, last night they had Seth Rollins and which Paul? Jake Paul? Is it Jake Paul? That's in.
Yeah.
So they're getting ready for they're I guess going to have a WrestleMania match. So Jake Paul's got this, the lucky punch or the punch or whatever they're putting over. Mm-hmm. And he threw this awkward looking, like real looking kind of punch that you couldn't really tell if he hit him or not. But I mean, it looked like he just was in a parking lot fight, like scrapping. It was not a working looking punch. It wasn't a wrestling looking punch. It was a punch like, hey, I'm just going to come swinging and knock your head off. And Seth Rollins went down. And it just looked like, holy shit, that looked like it was one punch, knocked him out. It looked like a real punch because it wasn't your typical wrestling working punch. And it's fucking awesome, man. It was great.
Yeah, man.
It looked totally different than anybody else's punch. And Rollins went down, knocked him out.
It's awesome. That's credibility right there, yeah.
Yeah, so now you had whoever else punched that night. I mean, obviously, their punch is nothing like Jake Paul's punch.
My last note on that last match was that, and again, if you just would have X-nated some of the front end and the stuff that we talked about with Otis and Gargano, and just implement some of those little things like the stare, the pose, right? The things that I think that could have mattered to get the talent over. And then when Gargano hit that DDT on the apron on Otis, instead of him just coming right up just to get DDT'd right again afterwards, to have that slow build, where he kind of sells into position and then Gargano hits a DDT again, but they could have had that drama, more of that storytelling, more of that attention to detail. I mean, I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer on the DDT on the apron should have probably been a finish anyway, but being that they did another one anyway, just be able to tell that story a little bit instead of just. And I get that he's a monster, jacked to the gills and everything like that, and but you know what though, you get impaled on your freaking head, man. I don't care how big, how small, how fat, how
Yeah.
skinny, how muscular you are. You're still a human being. You get impaled on your head, your reaction's gonna be the same no matter what, because you're human. You know what I mean? And if you want to treat it like it's real, I think it should be treated as such, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I don't know
So
if you know this, but Candice is Gargano's wife in real life. So the two little husband and wife beat the two monsters, Piper and Otis. I don't know if you put that together or not, but
oh no, I didn't know that.
yeah.
So, but there you have it. I think I would have liked to have a little bit more drama like that to the finish, but all in all, again, 3 minutes was what it was. A lot of business that needed to get accomplished in those 3 minutes. I think they did fine, and that's all I got.
Awesome, man. Now, like you said, you haven't been WWE for a while now. What do you think? This would just be strictly opinion. And do you think they come back and actually talk about some of this stuff that you're talking about, or do you think they come back and are like, "Oh man, that was great, dude. Thanks, that was awesome. Thanks, that was awesome." Or do you think they actually? Does anybody tell them, "Man, let some stuff register, show some facials, put some things over"? Do you think that even comes up in today's wrestling?
I think it depends where they're at on the TV show, to be honest, like that. Like I can tell you from personal experience, was one time I was wrestling, it was me and Kenny versus American Alpha. Um, and one time we had 8 minutes, right? Two entrances. And all of a sudden we got cut down we were the segue match to go into the next hour. And they were going over on time. And
Wow.
pretty much it was like, okay, you guys got 4 minutes, your entrance is cut, like, and go, 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 go. They were like just shooting us out to the ring. And they were tripping out. And me and Kenny were like, hey guys, don't worry, we got this. We knew the business. We knew we had to get them over, right? Which is why our entrances were cut. So we kind of like got the hits beforehand anyway. Plus, we were putting them over with their finish anyway. So we went out there, we did our freaking deal. We hit our freaking time cue right off the bat. We come out through the curtain, standing ovation. Yeah, that was freaking great, boys. Thank you very much. That was freaking awesome. Maybe because the match wasn't like 5-star, which it wasn't. It was what it was. I totally get that. But it was because we hit our time cue and we saved the rest of the show. And we didn't take away from the Undertaker in the main event. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of it's hearsay, she say, whatever analogy you want to give it that, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's up in the air as far as that goes, but on house shows I think you get more of the attention to detail. I think that's where you get your producer to pull you aside and be like, hey, look, you could really slow down here. Did you hear the people when you guys did this spot? Well, you kind of went too fast after that because they were still roaring, and you could have really slowed things down. You could have grabbed the hold there and let the people really come up, gather to and emotionally invest in what you just previously done and everything like that. I think a lot of that more attention to detail comes from house shows more than TV. In TV, they're more concerned, I believe, in my opinion, just making sure you hit your time cues and just getting the business that you need to get across, no matter if it's perfect or not.
Okay.
Just
Cool.
want to make sure you get that across. Yeah.
So that's
Mhm.
good. That's a good thing. Even though you said you haven't been up there for a while, it's good to have somebody that's been in the WWE, that's done TV, done Raw, wrestled main events, wrestled probably opening matches. You've done pretty much everything there is to do. So that's great to have that insight on the show, Wrestling with Rip Rogers. That's cool, man.
Yeah, man. Happy to do it, brother.
Yeah. So we gotta. I know we're just live here planning, but we need to make a plan, man. So what do you think? You're going to be able to come back and do this again sometime? You're going to be able to watch Raw? Are you going to be able to watch wrestling, Mondo? Are you going to be able to start watching some more current wrestling so we can continue to pick the mind of Mondo?
Oh, hell yeah. I plan on to it, man. Absolutely. Believe me, my career You know what? I may be turning 40 next month, but my career is far from over, and I plan on having another run somewhere. So,
40, you're in the prime of life, baby.
that's right, baby. You know, and like Rip said, he felt best when he was the age of 40. So, I feel pretty damn good myself, and I plan on having another run for sure. And
That's awesome.
I plan on getting back on here with wrestling with Rip Rogers live and going over some more matches with you, and picking out the attention to detail, so to speak, and see what the athletes of today are missing that they can implement today.
Yeah, we'd love to see you have another run somewhere. AEW, WWE, anybody would be very, very lucky, or whatever the word is. I don't know if lucky's the word, but very fortunate to have somebody like Mike Mondo on their roster. I can say that firsthand, man. You've
Mhm.
always been man, ever since I met you when you came to OVW at what, 18 probably? I mean,
18 years old,
you
yeah.
could just tell you had like you would get in there, you never had any fear of anything. You could do anything anybody asked you to do. You always had the mind. You always had the mind of Mondo. And let's get you back in there, man. We'll do all we can here at the Rip Wrestling with Rip Rogers channel to push Mondo to the moon. Hey, we almost got the Outrunners signed with AEW. You're going to be next. You're going to be next on our list here.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for giving me the platform to speak my opinion on basically what we just saw, and I'm just I do. I think I have a lot of experience to give back to the business, and if I can do it here, first and foremost, I'm more than happy to do it, as always.
Yeah, cool. Hey, Opinion Haver said I already booked Mikey for in Next Level on April 5th. Are you booked somewhere else?
Yes, actually with the vet.
Put that over, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty much gonna do what I did with you, but the whole show of NXT Takeover, I believe it's called, right? There you go.
I don't know. You're asking me. I'm not.
WrestleMania weekend. It's a
I'm
big
not the
NXT
vet.
show. Yes.
All right, let's get the head bob going here. Got to get the Starcade.
Yeah, baby.
Sorry, or April 22nd, I think. New video release. Mike Mondo. I didn't even hold on. Time out. Plug your shit. What do you got? You got Twitter? What do you got, man?
Plug man. Gotta plug my shit, right?
Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah, if you could hit me up on Twitter, the Mike Mondo, as well as my Instagram, the Mike Mondo. I offer $30 match reviews. If you have a match of yours that you would like to be constructively criticized and that will nitpick to the bone, I found a website that's great where we can FaceTime and actually watch the match back together. I will do all that for you, and even send you my notes via email or instant message, whatever is convenient for you. So you will have the full, thorough feedback that you need, and I'll do that all for you for the low price of $30.
Holy shit! Let me get this straight. So you can sit there, FaceTime, basically watch the person's match with them, critique it with them, and then also send them a hard copy page of notes.
Yeah, pretty much my formula is I watch it back on my own. I take my notes. Then we meet up on the site where we can FaceTime and watch the match back via, together. But I will verbally go through the notes with you first so you can verbally hear me and understand me. Then we'll watch the match back so you can get a visual of what we talked about verbally. And now that you have that, I will send you the notes so you have a future reference. In case you want to go back to the notes, you can go back to see what we were talking about. So you pretty much get a full, thorough breakdown, all for $30.
All for the low price of $30 from a former WWE World Tag Team Champion.
Yes, sir.
That is crazy.
So swole that I can't get the shit closed. So
hell yeah. All right, man. Thank you.